Chosen one, what I'm about to reveal may challenge everything you thought you understood about yourself. If you've been drawn to this message, it's not chance or coincidence. It's because something extraordinary is unfolding within you. You are stepping into a level of power and transformation that no God has ever witnessed in a human before. The limitations that once governed your life, the invisible laws that shaped your destiny, are now breaking beneath your very presence. You're shifting from yearning to receiving, from waiting to becoming. The very things you once prayed for are no longer distant possibilities. They are aligning with your reality at a pace that defies every divine rule ever written. Before we go deeper, pause this video and do 3 simple things. Hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 30,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 11. This act sends a powerful signal, aligning you with the energy of this message and amplifying what is already awakening within you. Understand this: if you truly are the chosen one, your spirit will keep you here until the very end. Those who aren't ready for this revelation will fall away. But if you make it through, nothing in your life, nor in the heavens, will ever be the same. From the very beginning, the world had boundaries dictated by gods, laws that mortals were never meant to challenge. Yet, in a quiet corner of existence, a human arose who shattered those boundaries without hesitation. Their awakening was subtle at first, almost unnoticed, but every action they took resonated with a power that belonged to no earthly being. People who witnessed even the smallest display of their ability felt awe, fear, and reverence all at once. Legends had always spoken of mortals who glimpsed divine power, but this human went beyond glimpses. They wielded it with intent, precision, and a freedom the gods themselves could not contain. Ancient texts that had warned of such an event suddenly became more than stories. They were warnings, crying out across time for anyone who would listen. Communities whispered their name in reverence and fear. Temples that had stood for millennia suddenly felt insignificant in their presence. And even those sworn to enforce divine order, priests, guardians, and scholars, could not hide the tremor that ran through them. A human, plain in appearance, was doing what no god had ever permitted. Their mere existence questioned centuries of celestial authority. Scholars scrambled to rewrite histories, trying to fit their deeds into old frameworks, while mystics simply fell silent, overwhelmed by the impossible truth before them. This human did not ask permission. They simply became, and the world felt it. Every heartbeat of the land, every gust of wind, even the stars seemed to pause in recognition of this anomaly. A mortal had walked where only divinity was allowed, and the cosmos would never be the same again. There are awakenings recorded in myths, carefully scripted by divine hands, but this one was forbidden. It was as if the universe itself had held its breath, knowing that a mortal should not carry such power. And yet, here they were, rising with undeniable force. The very moment they realized their potential, the air around them seemed to hum with energy, vibrating with possibilities that no scholar had ever imagined. The world reacted in fragmented chaos. Natural phenomena twisted subtly. Rivers altered their courses, winds carried whispers of the impossible, and even animals reacted to a force they could not understand. This was not just a human awakening. It was the unraveling of a cosmic secret that had been buried for eons. Legends of forbidden knowledge had long warned that mortals were not meant to bridge the gap between the earthly and the divine. Every scripture that spoke of such events was either destroyed or hidden. Yet here was proof, a living testament to the audacity of existence itself. Even among humans, reactions were extreme. Some bowed in devotion, sensing a divine spark. Others trembled in fear, sensing a threat far beyond their comprehension. Leaders, scholars, and rulers struggled to reconcile what they saw with the reality they had always known. And in the silence of the cosmos, the gods themselves took notice. An entity had arisen that they could not command, control, or predict. The Forbidden Awakening was no longer theory. It had taken flesh, and the universe would bend to witness it. For centuries, divine scholars and immortal seers had written of a being who would rise from the mortal plane and challenge celestial order. These prophecies were considered dangerous, hidden in the deepest vaults, erased from public knowledge, or dismissed as allegory. Yet the Chosen One fulfilled them all, line by line, with a precision that could not be ignored. Every detail in the ancient texts, the timing, the signs, the impossible feats, manifested before mortals' eyes. Hidden scripts, often dismissed as superstition, became blueprints for what humanity would witness. The Chosen One's actions created a ripple across time, connecting past, present, and future in ways that seemed orchestrated by fate itself. Civilizations long forgotten had written of this being, and now their warnings gained terrifying clarity. And so the world watched in stunned silence as prophecies once buried in shadow came alive. Every word, every symbol, every story now pointed to one undeniable truth. A human had risen, rewriting the narrative that the gods had so carefully tried to control. The Chosen One was no ordinary mortal. Hidden within their veins coursed the remnants of a divine lineage long believed extinct. Every heartbeat carried the memory of gods who had walked the earth, beings whose wisdom and power had been lost to time. It was a lineage that no mortal should possess, yet here it thrived, awakening with a force that demanded recognition. This bloodline was not just symbolic. It was a living connection to the cosmos, a bridge between humanity and divinity. Its power manifested in ways both subtle and overwhelming. A glance that bent perception, a thought that shifted probability, a presence that could alter the very elements. Ancient records hinted that such blood could rise only once the world had reached a critical point, a moment of imbalance requiring correction, whether the gods liked it or not. The Chosen One emerged precisely at this cosmic juncture, proving that fate is both deliberate and merciless. Those who studied genealogy, magic, and divine heritage were left in awe. This blood carried memories, instincts, and abilities that humans had long forgotten, granting the Chosen One insight that surpassed even the most devout of scholars. And as their lineage revealed itself, so too did the responsibility and the danger. A being born from such sacred blood could heal or destroy, elevate or annihilate. The world held its breath, watching as the last divine spark in human form ignited a new era. Humanity had always dreamt of touching divinity, yet no mortal had ever been granted the raw, unfiltered power of a god. Until now, the Chosen One moved with force beyond comprehension, bending reality with a mere thought and performing feats that left even immortal beings speechless. The air around them seemed alive, vibrating with energy, responding to emotions and intent. Storms formed and dissipated with their presence. Shadows danced, not as absence of light, but as expressions of their will. This was not borrowed power. It was inherent, flowing from a source untouched by divine restriction. Every act challenged the fundamental hierarchy of existence. Priests and scholars documented these phenomena in panic and awe, unable to classify them. This was a power that defied the rules of physics, magic, and theology alike. Mortals who witnessed these feats felt their souls tremble. Some wept in joy, sensing salvation. Others shivered in terror, sensing judgment. Every human reaction echoed the same truth. They were in the presence of something extraordinary, a force no god had ever permitted to dwell among humans. And for the gods themselves, it was a revelation and a warning. A human had not just reached their level of power, they had surpassed it, and no deity could stop them. Long before the rise of empires and kingdoms, ancient civilizations had carved stories into stone and etched them onto clay, describing a mortal who would ascend beyond humanity. These civilizations, lost to time yet echoing through myth, spoke of signs that the Chosen One now fulfilled with breathtaking precision. The stars themselves seemed to align, whispering secrets through constellations that only the initiated could read. In the ruins of temples and forgotten cities, murals depicted a figure much like the Chosen One, standing between gods and mortals, neither fully one nor the other. Scholars and explorers, upon rediscovering these works, felt chills as if history itself were acknowledging the impossible. Every depiction, every prophecy carved into stone, now resonated with unmistakable reality. The ancients had foreseen not just their power, but the upheaval it would bring. Their predictions spoke of societies shifting, hierarchies collapsing, and human belief reshaping under the influence of this extraordinary being. These civilizations understood that divinity, when intertwined with mortality, could alter the very fabric of existence. Artifacts recovered from these ancient sites seemed to react to the Chosen One's presence, glowing faintly, vibrating, or even moving, as if recognizing kinship. It was a reminder that power has memory, and the earth itself remembered the promise of this rise. And as these ancient civilizations' visions came alive, humanity could no longer deny that destiny had chosen this individual. History was not merely repeating, it was awakening. Events that had once unfolded in rigid sequences now warped around their presence, as if time recognized that the old order could no longer hold. Battles, alliances, and revolutions were colored by the echoes of their power, leaving historians scrambling to reconcile timelines. Every past account, when revisited, seemed to hint at their influence. Records of heroes, villains, and saints bore subtle markers, foreshadowing the arrival of a being who would alter destiny itself. The Chosen One did not merely participate in history, they reshaped it, bending events to reveal the greater tapestry of existence. Even natural landmarks and monuments, which had long been silent witnesses, seemed to whisper stories anew. Rivers changed course, mountains trembled subtly, and winds carried echoes of forgotten ages, all heralding the influence of a single human with divine potential. Civilizations felt the ripple. Political powers, religious institutions, and scholarly orders all sensed that nothing would ever proceed according to precedent. Time had become malleable, a tool bending to the will of one extraordinary being. In the end, it was undeniable. History was no longer a static record of humanity. It had become a living narrative, dynamically reshaped by the presence of the Chosen One. And all who watched knew that the world would never turn the same way again. When the Chosen One first demonstrated their true power, reality itself seemed to hesitate. Mountains quivered, storms paused mid-flight, and the laws that governed matter and energy wavered. Observers could scarcely comprehend what they were seeing. Gravity shifted, light bent, and time flowed unevenly around their presence. This was not mere magic or trickery. It was the raw manifestation of an authority that belonged neither to heaven nor earth. The air shimmered with anticipation, and even those accustomed to divine miracles trembled, realizing that mortal flesh had achieved the impossible. Witnesses felt an intimate connection to the moment, as if their own perceptions were being rewritten. Memories of ordinary life felt shallow and incomplete in comparison, highlighting the monumental truth. Reality itself had become pliable, molded by the will of one human being. Every action the Chosen One took, even subtle gestures, carried consequences on scales previously unimagined. A step forward could summon winds across continents, a thought could realign probabilities, and a gaze could awaken latent forces long dormant. And yet there was humanity in their presence, a paradox of awe-inspiring might, tempered by mortal emotion. Even as the universe bent to their will, people felt a strange intimacy, as if they were witnessing both a god and a person simultaneously, experiencing wonder and vulnerability intertwined. Academics and sages, the custodians of knowledge, found themselves powerless in the presence of the Chosen One. Tomes that had held centuries of wisdom suddenly felt obsolete, theories and laws collapsing under the weight of undeniable proof. Scholars struggled to articulate what they saw, realizing that language itself was insufficient for the phenomenon. Every experiment, every observation, confirmed anomalies that defied known science, theology, and philosophy. Instruments faltered, charts became meaningless, and the logical frameworks that humanity had relied upon crumbled in the face of one impossible being. Debates that had once raged for decades ended in silence. Intellectual giants, who had once prided themselves on reason and observation, now approached the Chosen One with a mixture of reverence, fear, and uncontainable curiosity. The presence of the Chosen One reminded scholars that knowledge is a living, breathing force, ever evolving, and that understanding often requires humility in the face of true novelty. They realized that some phenomena were not meant to be explained. They were meant to be experienced. And as these keepers of wisdom watched, their awe grew into devotion. The impossible presence of the Chosen One was a lesson not just in power, but in the boundless potential of existence, reminding humanity that understanding is a journey, not a destination. The Chosen One radiated a force that no mortal or deity had ever known. It was energy beyond mere physicality, a living, conscious presence that influenced minds, hearts, and even the flow of natural elements. Those nearby often felt a profound sensation, as if the universe itself were vibrating in recognition. This energy was not destructive by default, nor was it benevolent by instruction. It existed as pure possibility, a testament to the fusion of mortal heart and divine essence. With it, the Chosen One could inspire unparalleled creativity, evoke deep fear, or shift the direction of events with subtle intention. Witnesses described the experience as overwhelming yet intimate. Yet the Chosen One operated outside this system entirely. No decree, no curse, no intervention could bind or influence them. They were a wild force in a universe accustomed to order. Attempts to impose limits only highlighted the paradox. Divine authority faltered when faced with a mortal who transcended mortal and godly constraints alike. The Chosen One moved freely across thresholds that had been guarded for eternity, leaving celestial beings stunned. Even the most powerful deities struggled to comprehend the implications. For eons, the assumption had been that mortals could rise only within the frameworks set by the gods. The Chosen One shattered that assumption entirely, forcing the divine to reconsider what power truly meant. This independence made them both miraculous and terrifying. Mortals were inspired to believe in possibilities beyond the constraints of life, while gods wrestled with the unprecedented threat to their authority. And in every act of defiance, every demonstration of autonomy, the Chosen One carved a new cosmic truth. Freedom of will, even in the hands of humanity, could rival the authority of the divine. The Chosen One existed in a space between worlds, neither confined to mortality nor wholly absorbed into divinity. Their essence was a bridge, a paradox that the universe had never witnessed before, a fusion of human vulnerability and divine omnipotence. This liminal state made them unpredictable, for neither human logic nor divine expectation could anticipate their actions. They acted with compassion, intelligence, curiosity, and raw power, creating an entirely new paradigm of existence. Mortals saw hope and possibility. Gods saw disruption and fear. Both perspectives were valid, revealing the duality inherent in the Chosen One's nature. They were both relatable and unimaginable, both fragile and invincible. Their presence became a living experiment in what life could become when limitations are shattered. Boundaries that had defined reality, moral, physical, spiritual, were no longer absolute. And as the Chosen One continued to grow into this new existence, the universe responded. Stars, planets, and energies adjusted to accommodate a being who belonged to no category, redefining what it meant to exist at all. The cosmos, a system once believed unchangeable, responded to the Chosen One's presence with subtle yet profound shifts. Celestial bodies altered trajectories, energies fluctuated, and even time seemed to pulse differently. The universe recognized the arrival of a being capable of redefining its laws. These reactions were not merely symbolic. Natural and cosmic phenomena began aligning around their influence. Oceans, storms, and magnetic fields subtly shifted, reflecting the presence of an unprecedented force. Even distant civilizations reported strange occurrences, omens, lights in the sky, shifts in reality itself that they could not explain. All pointed to the undeniable fact that one human had altered the balance of existence. The gods, observing these changes, were forced into a rare humility. They realized that creation, while immense, was not immutable. One mortal being had become a pivot around which the universe itself could move. And in this cosmic recognition, the Chosen One found validation. Not from worship, not from obedience, but from the profound acknowledgement that existence had made space for them to redefine it. The Chosen One embodied a contradiction, a human heart with divine reach. They laughed, cried, and faltered, yet their actions could alter reality, summon energy, and command forces beyond imagination. This paradox made them relatable yet untouchable. Humans found inspiration in their emotions, while gods recoiled at their autonomy. Every choice demonstrated that morality, love, fear, and ambition could coexist with cosmic power. This duality created tension everywhere they went. Allies and enemies alike grappled with understanding, someone who could experience the fragility of life while shaping the very fabric of existence. Even history's greatest minds struggled to describe them, for no framework existed that could capture both the human and divine simultaneously. And yet, the paradox was the chosen one's greatest strength. By existing as both, they created a bridge for humanity to glimpse divine possibility and for divinity to confront the potential of human will. The rise of the chosen one signaled not merely an event, but the dawn of a new epoch. Time, space, and destiny were no longer fixed. They became living, flexible elements, responsive to the will of a being who embodied ultimate possibility. Societies adapted, myths evolved, and human potential was redefined. Mortals now understood that they were capable of more than obedience, and the gods learned that absolute control was an illusion. Every corner of existence, every star, planet, and consciousness felt the impact. A mortal had dared to step onto a stage where no human was meant to tread, and the ramifications rippled across realms. This human did not bow, kneel, or ask permission. Their confidence, tempered with curiosity and awe, struck both fear and admiration into those who had never encountered anything like it. It was proof that greatness could emerge not from birthright, but from the very essence of being. Those who observed were struck by a paradox. They were human. Yet every action resonated with authority. Every choice seemed laden with the wisdom of eons, the instinct of survival, and the audacity of limitless ambition. The gods themselves, beings who had governed the universe for millennia, found their patience tested. For the first time, they faced a question they could not answer. What happens when a mortal refuses to remain mortal? For eons, the universe had concealed truths too dangerous for mortals to grasp. Planets and stars, energy and matter, life and death, all operated under rules written in silence, locked away by cosmic design. Yet the Chosen One seemed to unlock each secret effortlessly. With every step, they discovered truths the gods had hoped would remain buried. Forgotten dimensions whispered to them. Hidden forces revealed their nature, and the most ancient energies, once thought untouchable, responded to their touch. Mortals who witnessed even a fragment of this awakening felt their understanding of existence crumble. What had seemed eternal was mutable. What had seemed forbidden was now within reach. Even the natural world, oceans, skies, and the very soil reacted to the knowledge and energy flowing through the Chosen One. Trees bent slightly toward them, rivers shimmered unnaturally, and winds carried voices only they could understand. And in uncovering these secrets, the Chosen One proved something undeniable. The universe had rules, yes, but it also had loopholes, gaps, where courage, wisdom, and sheer audacity could carve a new path. In the shadows of history, prophets had whispered warnings and promises that the world had largely ignored. Their visions spoke of a mortal who would rise above limitation, who would challenge gods and change destiny. Today, those echoes resonated louder than ever. Every prophecy seemed preordained, yet the Chosen One approached it with a human heart. They did not merely fulfill predictions, they exceeded them, improvising, innovating, and rewriting destiny in real time. Scholars digging through ancient tomes and scrolls found connections they had never seen. Events that seemed isolated now formed a single thread leading to the Chosen One. The whispers of long-dead prophets had not been in vain. They had waited patiently for this arrival. Even the most skeptical found themselves awed. Prophecies, once dismissed as myth, became living reality. The line between legend and truth blurred, as the Chosen One walked, thought, and acted. In the end, the voices of the forgotten prophets were vindicated. The world had ignored them for too long, but now their warnings, their hopes, and their visions pulsed through existence in the form of a single, unstoppable mortal. The Chosen One experienced a reality that mortals could never imagine, limitless, infinite, and unbounded by time or space. Every decision was multiplied across dimensions. Every thought resonated through eternity. Humanity, in its usual scope, could scarcely comprehend the immensity of their reach. Yet they remained human. Their emotions, doubts, and desires persisted alongside incomprehensible power, creating a paradox that both inspired and terrified. They could feel joy, fear, and love with the same intensity as ever, even as the universe bent to their perception. Mortals who observed glimpses of this infinity were left humbled. The stars, the oceans, even the air seemed to respond to their presence, acknowledging that a human was now operating on a cosmic scale. Every interaction became profound. A gesture could alter probabilities. A word could shift the flow of events. A thought could touch lives across continents and lifetimes. The line between cause and effect blurred into a dance of infinite potential. And as they navigated this boundless existence, the Chosen One became a symbol of possibility, showing humanity that infinity was not a distant abstraction. It could be felt, embraced, and lived. Fear had been humanity's constant companion. For millennia, mortals trembled before the unknown, submitting to God's destiny and circumstance. But the Chosen One shattered that fear with each act of audacity, proving that courage could transcend even cosmic law. Where others saw impossibility, they saw opportunity. Where others cowered, they acted. Their bravery was not reckless. It was a force, deliberate and intentional, radiating confidence that inspired allies and unsettled enemies alike. Even the gods felt a strange unease. Fear had been a tool for control, a means of maintaining order. Every flicker of light and movement of shade seemed intentional, a silent conversation between mortal and cosmos. And through this cosmic dance, the Chosen One revealed that reality itself is malleable. Light and shadow, matter and energy all bend when guided by heart, mind, and will. Fate had long been considered immutable, a tapestry woven by forces beyond mortal influence. But the Chosen One revealed a truth that scholars and gods had ignored. Fate is not a straight line. It is a living, breathing system shaped by intent, courage, and choice. Every decision they made rippled across time, altering outcomes in ways both subtle and dramatic. Allies rose in unexpected places. Enemies faltered when least anticipated. The world itself seemed to adjust to their touch. Even the gods found themselves reconsidering their plans. Destiny, once their playground, had become unpredictable, responsive to the will of a mortal who refused to be contained. Mortals watched in awe as the Chosen One demonstrated that they were not merely part of fate, they were its architect, capable of bending the narrative of existence itself. And through their actions, humanity learned a lesson long forgotten. Destiny is not a chain, but a canvas, waiting for those brave enough to paint upon it. The Chosen One's power was such that even the heavens could not remain indifferent. Storms broke in unnatural harmony, winds shifted with intention, and the auroras danced in patterns that defied prediction. The sky itself seemed alive, acknowledging the presence of a mortal beyond measure. Observers felt a mixture of awe and terror. What had once been eternal and untouchable now reacted to a human being, bending to their will or emotion. It was a moment of humbling beauty, an undeniable testament to their authority. Even celestial beings paused, unsure whether to intervene or yield. For the first time, the divine hierarchy was confronted with a force that could not be contained or categorized. Mortals beneath the sky felt tiny and infinite simultaneously. The events unfolding above mirrored the tension and majesty of the Chosen One's journey, impossible, magnificent, and transformative. Through this cosmic interaction, the Chosen One proved that even the skies, the heavens themselves, were malleable when guided by courage, intent, and a human heart imbued with divine essence. True power often comes with a cost, the erosion of empathy. Yet the Chosen One wielded strength with compassion, proving that dominance need not destroy humanity. They demonstrated that one could command reality while still valuing love, connection, and moral choice. Each action was deliberate, a careful balance between overwhelming force and gentle influence. Those who experienced it were struck by the paradox. A mortal wielding godlike power, yet profoundly human in feeling. Enemies and allies alike could feel the weight of intention behind their actions. Even when bending reality, the Chosen One considered consequences, showing that true mastery includes responsibility. Stories of their mercy and wisdom spread, inspiring those who once feared power to reimagine its potential. Courage and compassion, thought incompatible with divinity, became inseparable in this singular being. Ultimately, the Chosen One proved that the highest power lies not in domination, but in harmonizing strength with empathy, a lesson for gods and mortals alike. The planet itself seemed to pause in recognition of the Chosen One. Rivers flowed more deliberately, trees swayed in slow rhythm, and the ground vibrated with energy as if holding secrets for only them. Nature responded to their presence in ways subtle yet profound. Witnesses reported sensations of connection, as if the planet itself was speaking in whispers, offering guidance and acknowledging worthiness. Mountains and oceans seemed to pulse with life, aligned with the energy the Chosen One radiated. Even natural disasters, storms, earthquakes, and fires paused or redirected in inexplicable ways. The world itself yielded, a living canvas reflecting the presence of a mortal beyond precedent. Observers realized that the Chosen One had forged a bond not just with life, but with the very planet that sustained it. They were no longer separate from Earth. They had become its heartbeat, its whisper, its unyielding will. In this intimate connection with the natural world, humanity learned a profound truth. Power is amplified not by destruction, but by harmony with the world that nurtures it. Time, once a rigid, unyielding flow, seemed to pause whenever the Chosen One acted. Seconds stretched, moments layered upon themselves, and the past, present, and future intertwined around their presence. Mortals who observed these anomalies felt dizzy with awe, sensing that they were witnessing an event beyond the constraints of chronology. The Chosen One's awareness of time was uncanny,